Good evening and welcome to Pero Show. My name is Peter Owinan, and today we are going to be discussing rooted and united. Time to speak out. We're going to be talking about integration in Ireland, and we're going to be talking Africa. We have Africans in Ireland have come a long way. We've been here for more than 20 years now. A lot of us, we have integrated into the Irish community, but a lot of us still don't. But at that integration, at what cost? What actually defines Africans in Ireland? Do we have a sense of belonging? Do we know who we are? A lot that we're going to be talking about. And I have the founder of Rooted and United here with me today, JT Kagere, and one of the leaders of the organization, Mr. Jeffrey Owe, popularly known as Mr. Representer. They are here, they are motivated about Africa, but most especially about our youths. So they will be talking about who we are as Africans, the youths in Ireland. Are they in the right direction? Do they know themselves? A lot they're going to talk about. So first and foremost, welcome to Pero Show, JC Kagere.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you to all who are tuning in today. As Peter said, I'm JT Kagere, and I'm one of the co-founders of Rooted African Ireland, and co-founder.
We also need to welcome Mr. Jeffrey Owe to Pero Show. First and foremost, I'm sorry, JT Kagere, we'll come to you again. How are you doing, Jeffrey?
Thank you very much, Peter. I'm doing very great, and I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you here. Jeffrey is someone that I've known for a long time, and yeah, I'm just getting to meet JT Kagere now. And JT, the title, Rooted and United, tied to speak out. The future is now. It's very striking. And we're talking about Africa. And I kind of like the way you coined it together, because it's something that I've been looking at. How do we really define ourselves? How do we unite as a people in Ireland? And I think the future is now. We really need to take the opportunity. We need to seize the opportunity. But I will leave you to really tell us. I know that you have a program tomorrow, but first and foremost, let us know, what do you mean when you say rooted and united? Time to speak out. The future is now. I'm really excited with the with the whole coinage. So tell us about it.
So Rooted and United Youth is part of a bigger organization, which is Roots in African Ireland, which is an organization that I co-founded with Diane Ihire. It was founded on a tragedy, mostly of a young person from our community that died by suicide due to racial bullying. And when that happened, we didn't have a young person feeling alone, that they felt that they had to take their life and no supports. We felt that there was really nothing, there wasn't any supports. People were happy to go online and send condolences, but no, there was no on the ground support for a person or young people. And this was not the first person in Ireland who had died by suicide due to racial bullying. And we felt that it was time to hear what was actually affecting the youth. And secondly, the fact that as a community, as a Black community with our pride, that we need to unite in order to show the strength to our youth. So the event that we're holding tomorrow really is part of the greater organization, in that we really strongly believe that people say, the youth are the future, but the future is now. If we don't work with our youth, if we don't correct or empower our youth to know where they're from, to celebrate their Blackness, to know how to, that it's not embarrassing to eat pounded yam in front of their friends, or to talk with their accent, that they don't have to change their accent when they're talking, that they're just enough, with everything. So that is why we have the Rooted and United Youth, and really giving them the space not to hear what, because when as the leaders, as parents, we came with our own traditions, our own ways that we're able to survive on the motherland. But this is changed. We're now rooted in Africa, and we can maintain that, but we also now have roots in Ireland. So that makes us a unique generation. The youth are a unique generation that are trying to navigate those two worlds, and we need to empower them. We cannot let it go to the internet, or let it say it's not our space to do it. We need to bring them in and say, we've got you, we can empower you. What do you want to know about yourselves? Can you be both African and Irish? And that is, it's not to be seen on paper, but to be felt within a person. Because if you don't believe who you are, you can never be who you are.
Okay, I can see your passion, JT, but from your passion, what I can deduce from what you're saying is that we, the parents, we, the leaders, we seem to be going the wrong route. We haven't actually done our bit in trying to bring our children up. And we need to take a step back and say, no, we need to start doing it now. We're going wrong, we're going the wrong route, but we need to come back, and we need to work with our youth and say, this is the way. We're Africans, yes, we are integrating, but we need to have the we need to know in the course of the integration, also bring in the positives of who we are. So it is by doing that we now have the kind of holistic integration that will not be seen from a negative point of view. Am I right?
Absolutely. It's that the meeting of culture, the meeting of who you are, and mostly the work that we do is based on the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is I am because you are, and that is something that we want to impart with the youth, that for them to be able to be represented. I mean, our pillars are knowledge, empowerment, and representation, because if you don't know who you are, you cannot be represented in the society that you're living, and you'll always be doubting yourself, your capabilities. So yes, integrating getting the parents, the families, it's not just the youth's voices, but it's also bringing in, because we also go back to the fact that it takes a village to raise a child. So it is very important that even, we have the leaders of the group, who you hear from shortly, Jeffrey, that it's also to understand from people that have gone through the process of growing up in Ireland, and understanding that these are the challenges. Because if you don't see the person, or you don't hear from a person that has gone through that, it's very difficult for you to maybe try and navigate that. And it goes also back to the fact that as African parents, we hold back onto the traditions, that we cannot have one-to-one talks with our children. You'd be like, no, I'm not your friend, I'm your elder. But children want to listen to, they want to talk, because they can't relate, let's say, with their teachers that are not from the same background. So they want to hear from you as parents, to talk to them, sit down, take the time. So for that gap that has been left, we're saying this is a safe, brave space where your voice, where when you talk, you're not going to be told, keep quiet, I'm the elder, I know. Because the children, our youth, are the ones that are going out into the world. They are the ones, we don't go to school with our children. What happens in the schools, the children are enduring, whether it's discrimination, whether it's being told that they are not enough, and they go that and they take that and internalize it. And more has been heard about how our young people have been suffering because of, during, the rise of the Black Lives Matter. Like, you'd be shocked at the amount of discrimination within the education sector that our youth have had to deal with. So this is what we're saying. This is the space for them where it's non-judgmental, where it's safe, where they can relate and they can speak to people that can support. So we have within the Rooted and United Youth, we actually have a support corner that we can meet. So there's a lot to be there, whether it's in education, whether it's social enterprise, whether it's mentoring programs. If a child says, I want to, for example, go into accounting, we have people that have, from legal backgrounds, different backgrounds within the organizations that we can speak to and give them the advice even before they write their Living Cert, and really mentor our young people.
Okay. Mr. Godfrey Owe, aka Mr. Representer. I guess we talked about situations like this. We look forward to when an organization like this will come up. People who have the passion, people who are ready to speak the truth. I hope, JT is ready to speak the truth, because the streets, the road she's walking on is very rough. So she would need to do a lot to turn it around. And Godfrey, we talked about it. We've looked at situation. We hope one day that we see organizations that are ready, that are really ready to say, okay, no, it's time. It's time to speak up. The future is now. We need to seize the day. We need to grab the day, the opportunities, and make proper good use of it. And when I see an initiative like this saying, yes, this is the time, this is what we want to do. We are going to be focusing on our youths, because today we, the leaders, we might not be that old, but we are living our lives. We are giving birth to children. And it is most important that those children, platforms are created for them. They are shown the right way to go. And most importantly, they are told that, yes, you should be proud to be Irish, but you should be prouder to be an African. So let me ask you, Mr. Jeffrey, Rooted and United, what is your understanding of it?
Thank you very much, Peter. Like you said, I think we both spoke about this, a few months back. And when we spoke about it, we know there's a void there. There's something missing there. There's a gap for sure with our youth. And I always have passion. I have passion for our youth and to see how we can definitely bridge that gap. So when I was told about Rooted and United and the vision and what the plan is, I was definitely impressed. And I had no choice but to be part of it, because I want to play my part as well. So I think it's not just on me, neither is it just on Joy. I think all of us need to come together as a community. And for Rooted and United, we are basically bridging that gap, between the youth and also the parents as well, because we were also parents and we're trying to find how we can help, support, and educate our youth, because we know there's something wrong. But how do we fix it? It's not by always talking or going on social media lamenting. It's really having something like this. And that's what Rooted and United is coming together to do, to create a platform where our youth can come together to speak out. And besides just speaking out, at the moment, a lot of our events is going to be virtually. But by God's grace, as time goes, we are willing to do a lot more with our youth. Growing up in Ireland myself, and also seeing a lot of other youth, I think if this platform had existed 10 years or 20 years ago, definitely I think there'll be a difference in our society right now, because our youth will have a place where they can call home away from home, where they can always come together, and we're planning a lot of different event, on a high level. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Myself and my co-head Vicky, we're working in the background to make sure as well we're bringing the best on board. So there's a lot more to come, and we're great to be here to talk to you about it as well.
Okay, yeah, JT, the idea of having a group like this really has to do with leadership. It has to do with credibility. And because you can start a group or you can start any movement, and at the end of the day, you discover that there are lots involved, a lot of challenges. You need to be able to take the heat. You need to be able to stay, walk the talk. It is first and foremost what is important, the challenges. Are you ready to walk the talk? Because it is not an easy job to do, but it is not an impossible job to do for a person that is convinced that I want to do it. So I want to ask you, your personal conviction, when you started this with every other person you started with, did you ask yourself the challenges? Are you ready to face them? That's my first thing. First question to you.
Absolutely. For a person, like I look at myself growing up, I grew up in Zimbabwe, where I grew up in a community where I hated being Black because I grew up with a lot of white people. It took me to come to Ireland and establish myself to start celebrating my Blackness. And as a mother in society and seeing, raising my children here, I know that this is my passion. And it's not only me, it's, as I said, we have Diane, who grew up, I came here when I was 20, so I wouldn't have had the experience, but I know what it is to grow in white spaces where you're constantly asking yourself, am I worth it? And so we definitely have the task, and we've taken, if we didn't rise to the challenge, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be working 15-hour days to try to get, all the groups, because it's not only the Rooted and United Youth. We've got three other facets. We have the men, the women, and the LGBTQI+, and it's something that the African community has never talked about, but we do have people from the LGBTQ community who have been stigmatized within society. And we're saying, let's have these honest conversations. So we have all those representations, and we know that our youth are there, and we need to honestly talk and accept, the things that we usually are hidden under the carpet. So yes, to answer your question, I'm there 100%. And I'm glad that we have a strong team of passionate people, experienced people who are willing to take the journey. And we don't work, as different departments. We work as a group because, as I said, it's all of us coming from our different backgrounds, coming from different countries, coming from different life experiences to make this vision for a better future for the youth that are especially rooted in African Ireland. So that is where we are. That if we've risen to the challenge, we've seen that there was a void, and this is the challenge and the space that we're saying for the youth. We are here for you. If you've ever felt alone, if you've ever felt that you cannot speak to your parents, or if you ever felt that you are not enough, we're telling you that you are enough. Your melanin skin is enough. Your accent is enough. Eating, your African food is enough. Having Afro hair like mine is enough. You don't have to be anything else. Shine and rise, African child, and celebrate your Africanness and your Irishness.
Yeah, I ask you that question because I have, Jeffrey, that I've been around, we've been around, and a lot of organizations, they sprung up after 3 months, 2 months, 6 months. They've gone underground, and when you ask them why, they say, oh, it's too much, the struggle is too much, I don't have financial support, I don't have this, I don't have that. And, so I can count organizations that have come up for one reason or the other, and they were not able to survive for a year. So that was my reason of asking you that question. But then again, I want to ask you another question. Ireland as a country, do you think Ireland as a country has been good to Africans? I want you to be honest.
The Ireland as a country has, it's good and bad as any other country. And it is, what you see is that when people come in, there is the importance of understanding the culture of each country. And, you know, I suppose when we come in with a culture, we want people to understand us, and we also need to understand the Irish culture. But as people, when we try to integrate, we sometimes hold on to our beliefs. And to answer your question, Ireland has its problems in terms of that, whereas in other countries like the States or, you know, France or other, there is the othering, the discrimination is overt. You know, you know that this is your space, but what, you know, when it is not, when it's covert, when you are made to feel or, you know, discriminated against, and it's done in a way that is so insidious, you know, it's bit by bit. I think we've talked about, you know, being death by 1,000 cuts, that you realize, you know, whether when you're applying for a job, you know, you're judged by your surname. If you're talking to a person, your accent, you know, you're told that you're foreign. Going to school, you know, children have been told, you know, we've had stories of children suffering racism, to the fact that we actually were dealing with a young child of 12 years old who is on antidepressants because of racial bullying. And as I've talked about, the death by suicide of young folks within our community. So yes, you know, there is a problem of not acceptance of, you know, Black people, and it goes as further as how mixed race children were treated in the mother and baby homes. So we have to look as far as that, you know, the acceptance, we need to work on it, but we also have to work on ourselves, that when we are teaching our young people, what do we teach about themselves? Like, how do we empower them? So racism is always going to be there. Like, I lived through apartheid. Apartheid is still there. You know, I'm here, you know, 30 years later, and I'm still having to be discriminated. But we cannot say lament about the racism. What we need to do is empower ourselves. We cannot be crying all the time. Yes, you know, we can't change it. We are not the ones that created discrimination or racism. There's a community that know how to stop it, but they're not willing to stop it. So how can we survive in that hostile environment? That is where we are at as an organization, Roots in Africa and Ireland, and within our Rooted and United Youth. How do you survive in hostile environments, and how do you thrive?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited talking to you. You've talked about some of the problems that you would find in a society like the Irish society, the negative. But before I look at the other aspect of what you've said, now let's look at some of the positives of us living in Ireland.
Ability to have a good education, a good standard of life, you know, a good standard of living. And for most, you know, of the community that are in Ireland, you know, whether they came in professionally, whether they came in seeking international protection, we're all looking for a better way of living. So we have safety, we've got a better standard of life. We can assure that when our children are growing up, you know, they can have education, and which is, you know, within African families, education is important because it opens the door to many opportunities, even though that there's barriers, but it's a step up from the difficult positions that we'd have. There's also the fact that Ireland is a small country, you know, 4.5 million people, and this is a time and opportunity to dismantle, you know, I think we are in a very fertile ground where we can be the community that changes, that the world sees that, you know, two communities, the Black community and the white community, can exist in unity. So, you know, Ireland has been a first for many things. And I think with the right support, and especially with the group of people that we have in our organization, that we can start that ball rolling, you know, because for many years, it is there, you know, it's for you to seize the moment. So yes, the positive is that we're living in fertile ground where we can be the pillar for the world to see that racism can be, or the negatives of othering can be dismantled by working together.
Okay. Now, I want you, this question is for both of you, but I want to start with you. When we talk about racism and the tendencies to find them in different places in Ireland. Now let's look at where we're coming from in Africa. Is it right to say that even within us in Africa, we also have racism that we call tribalism in Africa? Amongst us in Africa, when we live in Africa, do we still have these tribalistic tendencies? We don't call them racism, but we call them tribal sentiment and discrimination. Are they also in Africa?
Absolutely. I would like to say that we have those differences, and this is what I was saying initially, that we need to look at ourselves because we bring those differences with us. We haven't lost, we didn't leave them behind. Just a typical example with me, like if I wanted to go and get my hair done in a hairdresser, someone would ask me, where are you from? Or if they listen to my accent, they would ask me, and they would be, like I've had many times where I've been charged maybe 10 times the price from a person that would have been from the same tribe or the same country. I've heard, I've been invited to associations and I'm told, because you're not from X tribe, not X country, you can't be a participant of it. So yes, we do. And this is another factor that is going, if we don't work on that, then we definitely, we're passing it on to our children. And this is where we are coming in and saying, look, guys, when you're out on the street, it doesn't matter, whether you're Zulu, Xhosa, Igbo, Yoruba, what they see is you are Black. So why not be your brother's keeper? So yeah, I hope that answers you.
Yeah, it's very important because I asked that question because I just want people to know, especially the young people that we are talking to, is that there's racism everywhere, but we shouldn't let it define us. I like what you said, that let's take the positives, let's empower ourselves, let's walk in between those negative tendencies. Let's look at the positive vibes. There's racism everywhere. Even we don't. I was asking you about Africa, but when you answered me, what you told me was that we don't even have to go as far as Africa. Even within Ireland here, amongst the Africans here in Ireland, there's racism. You said that. So when I hear people say all the time, oh, Irish are racist, Irish are, yes, there will always be racism in the world. It's not supposed to be, but we don't have an ideal world where we are coming from in Africa, even within ourselves. If, for example, in Nigeria now, all the crisis in Nigeria, what is bringing it? Class warfare, religious warfare, race warfare. Are you Yoruba? Are you Hausa? Are you Igbo? Are you this? That's what is bringing all the killings, all the discrimination, all the neglect, everything is there. So when we are looking at racism, I want us to be very, very objective in looking at it. So Jeffrey, could you say something about the question? Do you believe that racism is everywhere?
Yeah, definitely. I believe tribalism, definitely among the Africans, and there is racism as well. It is out there, but for me, I decided not to dwell too much on the negative, instead on the positive, and say, okay, what do we do to turn all this around? How can we change the narrative? How do we empower our youth to build self-confidence and build resilience to be able to protect their inner peace? Because there are some people are stronger than the other. So when you come across and if you know you are strong, then how do you shine your light to other people as well to help them build themselves? So yeah, among Africa, I think this is, in regards to tribalism, that's a religion. There's a lot definitely there to that is actually dividing us. But there's also a lot as well that we can look at ourselves, we can come together, that will unify us. And instead of us looking at a lot of the problems, is to say, okay, yeah, there's a problem, then what can we do? What is the solution? And I'll go back to say that's also part of the reason why even Rooted and United was born, to be a solution for part of the issue that is out there. So definitely, I do agree with that statement that yes, even among the African community, there's a lot out there to divide us, tribalism, religion, and all of that. But there's also a lot that also can unify us. And going forward, I do see a turnaround. I do see a change coming. And I think even in Africa, there's a lot of awakening happening. So definitely, I'm very positive, and I know there's going to be a change for sure.
Yeah, it was important to stay on that for some time, because when you go on a journey like this, it's important to know that all is not about, it's not El Dorado, that, there are challenges. And when people talk about racism and all, they should first and foremost look at themselves and say, yes, there's racism here. I agree. But where I'm coming from, is it better? Is even worse? And like JT said, we live in a country that has given us peace. We live in a country where the opportunities are there. And what we should be looking at is, how do we take those opportunities while we continue to fight against those negative vibes? They are not supposed to be, like I did interview the Minister for Justice in 2010, where he said racism has no place in Ireland, but yet it is here. So we have to continue to fight against it. So for our people as Black people, for we to find our root, for we to find our tune, we have to understand that there will always be problem. Even if we were in Africa, there is also problem there. Even within the Africans in Ireland, there is even a bigger problem. So, but the important thing, why I think the organization like this exists, is how do we dismantle all those challenges? How do we rise above them? How do we overcome them? How do we begin to understand ourselves? How do we have a kind of genuine integration between the Irish and the Africans? How do we get our children to grow up under an atmosphere that they know that, yes, we are Irish, we celebrate our Irishness, but at the same time, our Africanness has to dictate who we are. What kind of food do we eat? How do we greet in the morning? How do we relate? What are, when I read Rooted or United, yes, I went and wore my clothes. I'm proud of, my clothes. I said, I'm African. I'm going to be discussing African this evening. That is what we need to tell our children. That is what we need to let our children know, that we do have a place, we do have a culture, and we are proud of it. The Irish, that we have Irish American. They live in America, they live everywhere, but they still come back home every minute when they are sleeping, when they are awake, when they are walking, they're talking Irish. That's what we need to do. Even when we are here, we are growing up here, we are contributing to the success of Ireland, we should also be contributing to the success of Africa. We should show with pride, not with disdain, who we are. When we show with pride who we are, other people, we buy into whosoever we are. We are not trying to confront people with who we are. We are not trying to, when we live in Ireland, it is not going to be we against them. Let's work towards one direction. Because to me, I believe that Ireland has been a beautiful country to each and every one of us. And like you said, JT, we are not running away from the fact that there are problems, but let's look at the positives. Let's work on the positives. Let's empower ourselves, and let's, get up to that purposeful society that we want to be. That's what I think we're talking about. So JT, let's talk about, I know you have an event tomorrow. So what are we expecting? Tomorrow is a launch. Tell us about what you're launching tomorrow.
So, Peter, we're very excited because as Jeffrey and I, like every time I talk about the youth, I'm beaming because I'm looking at the young people and I'm seeing, life, I'm seeing positivity. So we have our speak out session, which is also our launch, an opportunity for the community at large to know what we have in store, what we plan to offer to the youth, and for the youth themselves to come in and, just be them, with their families. So we have a very notable guest speaker, and I'll leave that to Jeff. But we have we're going to have music. We've talked about good vibes. We don't want, we want to leave the negativity. We want to be able to celebrate our wholesomeness. And one thing that we do on occasion is that we understand that we cannot live in isolation with the Irish community. So we have invited everyone, because it's a learning ground. This is, dialogue, understanding and building bridges is not just one-sided, and education. So we want to showcase to the whole community, whether you're, white Irish, whether you are Asian Irish, it is open to everyone, families, youth organizations, to come and see, and even maybe for those that are interested in our work, to see what we're doing. So yes, we are going to be online at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you can bring your dancing shoes, and we're going to have prizes. We're going to have a quiz to, general knowledge on people, how much they know about Africa. I already have my earrings ready and my outfit ready. So I'm just going to be changing my top, but I have everything. I'm already in the mood to celebrate Africa, the African youths, and tomorrow. So Jeffrey will tell you more information about the speakers and what him and Vicky have planned.
Okay, Jeffrey, we're still talking about what are we expecting and what is going on tomorrow. Tomorrow is a special day to the United, Rooted and United. So tomorrow is a special day, and but people might want to know, what do we have? What are they looking forward to tomorrow?
Hey, thanks, Peter. There's a lot of surprises, so I'm not going to give everything away. But of course, the flyer out there, we have a special guest in Councillor Yemi Adenuga, who is coming. Of course, she's a great inspiration to a lot of us in Ireland. So it's great to have her to also shine some light and also to talk about, to inspire a lot of our youths, really. And of course, we're going to have a lot of music, a lot of fun quiz, to really engage. And I think the title says it all, time to speak out, and also create that safe space for our youth to be able to come together and share a lot of idea. For us tomorrow is to really get to know a lot of our youths and also hear from them, know exactly what they want, because it's not just also about us and what we want to do. It's also about our youths and what they want to do. And also for us to help them and navigate to take them to that next level, really. So we are going to be working hand to hand with our youth and also to support them. So, but tomorrow is the lunch, and for the lunch, we have a lot of music, a lot of fun quiz, a lot of surprise, and also prizes as well to give away. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Myself and Vicky, she's also working very hard in the background, making sure that we kick off right tomorrow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, that would be fun. Yeah, but before we go, JT, there's a lot of antisocial behavior among some of our youths. Are there going to be mentorship? Is that part of the challenges are you taking upon yourselves, the organization, to try to change the situation? Because we can't deny the fact that there's a lot of antisocial behavior amongst our youths. Our youths, let's just break this into perspectives. We in Ireland today, we have some of the most beautiful youths that one can ever dream of in Ireland. Our youths are making first class. They are making waves in sports everywhere. Everywhere you can think of, at workplaces. We have medical doctors, engineers, architects, teachers, media people, very creative youths all over. But we also have those sects that are giving us problems and that we need to deal with. We need to have a solid mentoring program for them. We need to change them. We need to, get them to know that, like you said, there are loads of positive things that we can get living in Ireland. So is there a project, is there a program for them, like mentorship?
Absolutely. And I want to go back to the premise that I started with, that it takes a village to raise a children and a child. And what we've done for a long time is that and I hate using this term, is that we've let our youth that are rooted in Africa and Ireland, or rooted in Africa, go feral, like feral cats, where we've let a foreign culture cultivate and raise our children. So definitely even if you go on our website, mentorship is a strong action plan that we have, that we will be bringing in with the youths. We're going to have, as I said, professional people from different professional fields to come in and speak. We also have a few talks that people might be looking forward to tune in, which is the law and young Black youths, and which I think it's very topical now that the youth do understand where they stand in the law. We will have the aspects that affect them, that talk about it. So we already have a team of professionals, as I said, from across the professional fields, like we said, the medical, accountancy, legal, to talk about, but also something that is not there is like a big brother and big sister program, where with all the people that are working with us, that and also GADA vetted, that they will be able to have talk, and if there's an issue that you can raise and say, look, this is not the way to do it. Can you think of can we work together and see, or my path and my experience, that if you keep on this path, you're going to get lost. So that is a very strong action plan within African Ireland. So we would say to the youth that it is not lost hope. We're bringing back, get to know your culture, even if it means listening to music, listen to the old music, or even reconnect. The word is, we've lost connection. And one of the biggest aspects is we want to reconnect, because a tree without its root is a dying tree. And we want to resuscitate that youth so that they have the pride. So absolutely, we're there for you. We have contacts. We are on all social media platforms in which you can contact us if there is an issue. And we also work with qualified social care workers and therapists as well within our organization, who are able to support the youth. So Peter, to say that, yes, mentorship is going to be a strong focus, because we know the potential. There's a lot of potential in our youth, and we don't want it to be lost.
Okay, Godfrey, still talking about mentorship. What do you want to say about the possibility of mentorship with Rooted and United youth?
Of course, there's a void there in regards to support and helping a lot of our youth as well. And, there is also a lot of leaders out there, but there's also a lot of leaders missing to fill that gap. So for us going forward is to try to see how we can really support and mentor a lot of our youth and young teenagers. So the main plan, I like it because in a way, we're going back to from age 11. So that way we're trying to really start supporting them from an early age, all the way to 18. And also there's also support there from 18 upward as well. But in regards to mentorship, I think it's great that we have this program out there and in Rooted and United. That way as well, a lot of youths that come in, they know if they need that support, it is there. We will provide that for them. So a lot of us are knowledgeable and have experience in different fields. So definitely, if anybody within the circle, we can always bring in professionals as well, from the UK and outside of Ireland to be able to provide these services. So we myself and you, Peter, we have spoke about this before. We know, it is missing in our community, and it is great to have this. And that's why I'm excited and I'm happy to work with Rooted and United to bring it to life and to be able to create this opportunity.
All right, Jeffrey, you want to you want to, we are coming towards the end now. You probably want to send a message to the youths as the youth ambassador, aka the representative. Tell them that the future is bright, the future, they have it all, the opportunities are there. So maybe you should send a message to the youth.
Um, I'll say this basically, like I said, if Rooted and United was here 10, 15, or 20 years ago, I can particularly say a lot of youths definitely would have not gone astray. But with this now, I'm happy, we're here now and we're here to definitely rewrite, all the wrongs and to put things back in order. So I'm happy to be part of this. And definitely he's very open for each and every one and other youths, other colleagues in the industry, be it entertainment, be it professional, to come in and get involved. We are going to be trying to be also having a different interview, of course, with a lot of youths in different professional fields to see how they can definitely share their story, share their experience, and also to inspire and motivate a lot of a younger youth as well. So definitely, I say, guys, tune in tomorrow is a kickoff. If you have any ideas, please do share it with us. We are also willing to learn as well from you, and we are definitely here for you. So definitely, I'm looking forward to the kickoff. And if you have any personal question or if you have any issue, definitely do reach out. I'm still there. There's a lot of stuff I do background on my own, but definitely do reach out as well. We are here for you as Rooted and United, and also personally myself. Yeah.
All right. JT, you want to, we're talking about the youth now. You want to send a message to them? I know you've sent a message in the course of talking, but you probably just want to address the youth now,
Okay, so I just want to tell you that and repeat that to anyone that is listening or watching, that you are enough, that you are, to be celebrated, that the world is your oyster and you need to take, believe in yourself, because no one can ever tell you that you're not enough. And do reach out. We are on all social media networks at RIAI Network, at RIAI Network. And we have Instagram pages if you want to reach out. But just know that tomorrow, you're finding your community. And for most of us that came late or are older than the youth, we tried to navigate living in a foreign country without our community. This is a chance for you to join other young people from north, west, east, south of Africa that are also rooted in Ireland, and for you to be a generation that shines. So keep on shining.
Okay, thank you very much. You can always count on me when it comes to anything that would define positively the image of the Black community in Ireland. I will be there, because I believe that coming to Ireland, we have actually found peace. If within the negative vibes that we talked about all the time, I always want to look at the positives that we have found, whether in the peace within our home, whether it's the peace of mind, whether it's the educational, even with the racism in schools with the children. But that shouldn't define our children in school. Our children are doing great in school. They are coming out with first class, like I said before. And that's what we need to look at. That's what we prepare us to do better. And I believe that we are doing better. And that is what every time when we wake up in Ireland, when we go to work, what we can build on is the positives that we are making, is the ability to empower ourselves, even as parents, and then the ability to empower our children. That is what should define who we are. And that's what I guess Rooted and United is all about, helping us to define ourselves, helping us to, go way back, even while we are sitting down, to Africa and relate with our source, where we are coming from, and bring out the positive, the best, now merge it with what we have in Ireland and become a better soul. That is what we want to become. That's how we want to look at us. When people talk about Africans in Ireland, it should be, who are these people? Such wonderful people. And that's who we are. And that's what we are doing. Even when Jeffrey talked about 10 years ago, we were just coming in. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we were just coming into Ireland, but we struggled. But whatever we did then is still historical things that we have to shape in our futures. Our children will look at, when we didn't have anything, what did we do? We created situations. People can say it wasn't enough, but they need to know where we are coming from. We don't have a Black history in this country. It's just something that started some few years ago, and we are building on it. So whosoever you are, whether you are a parent, whether you are youth, you need to come together. We need to build on that. We need to build a solid foundation. We need to take emotion out. We need to take those negative vibes that we brought from Africa and, look at, we have a lot of positive vibes that we brought from Africa. Bring them out of us, unleash them. Let's teach our children about those positive vibes. And when they are now adding whatever they are learning from the Irish side, they will become better children. They will become better youths. That's what I think, rooted in Africa, rooted and united youths. Time to speak out. The future is now. That's what I think they're talking about, bringing out the best of us. So if you have the time, something is happening tomorrow. It's about awareness creation. It's about celebrating ourselves, whether through music, whether through speeches, whether through the clothes you wear, everything is about representation of who we are as Africans. So if you have seen the poster, Rooted and United Youths, make it a date with them. And I can guarantee you, we will continue to come on air like this and talk about what Rooted and United Youths means, so that the information will continue to go. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for watching and for following us. And JT Kangiri and Jeffrey Aware, I also want to thank you for coming on Pero Show this evening. Thank you, and I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks. So we're going to go off live.